Well, there's a lot of things in products today we don't really need in our bodies. So by doing it this way, we're getting a healthier product, and it's a little cheaper too. So we're going to start out. I've got, a little over 2.5 pounds of tomatoes, basically 10 Romas. I think Roma tomatoes make the best sauces. We're just going to do a rough chop on these and throw them in a little crock pot. The tricky thing with tomatoes is what you're cooking them in, because they're very sensitive. Raw tomatoes, as you're cooking them, are very sensitive to temperatures. They can score or burn very easily. They don't even have to look black to take on a burn flavor. The best way is in a nice heavy pot in the oven. I'm not really set up for that. In this case, we're going to use a crock pot. If you don't have a crock pot, a double boiler works just fine. Any case, just a rough chop. Don't worry about putting any oils or moisture or anything in there. They got plenty of juice in them. I'm looking for blemishes as I chop them, but I'm not worried about the stem, because we're going to cook these down, add some stuff to them, and in the end, we'll puree them, probably with a burr stick, but if you have a blender or a food processor, that's fine. And then after that, if necessary, we'll run them through a sieve or something. But the idea is to get all these flavors merged together over time, and then puree it, reduce it, and you'll have homemade ketchup. All right, so like I said, I'm not worried about that stem, just a nice rough chop and into the pot. And contrary to popular belief, cleavers are not really for chopping. Axes, hatchets, things like that are for chopping. Even when you're dealing, say, with chickens or any kind of meats like that, and you see them with the heavy cleavers and they're boom, 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 cutting through the bones. Well, now you got broken, sharp-edged bones in your mix. You know, I don't want that. So when I take my cleaver to a chicken or bone like that, I go to the articulation and I separate the articulation. You don't need to chop. And then tomorrow, the next time I'm here, we'll take our homemade ketchup and we'll turn it into a barbecue sauce. I love it when it's all homemade. And for those of you that have seen me here before, I apologize, it's been several years. We relocated to a house and life got busy. But I'm really trying to get back here to this because it's what I enjoy. And I just realized my cleaver's dull. I think in between shoots I'm going to have to sharpen it. And as you notice, I'm not really being particular with how I'm chopping these. Like one of my old stewards used to say, just whack it and throw it in the pot. Alright, so now we got those. It's a new crock pot. I bought one in between my little one and my big one, and turned out to be just the right size. Happy accidents. So basically, that's a 3-quart crock pot, and 2.5 pounds of Roma's just about filled it up. Once it cooks down and everything, we'll probably end up with somewhere close to a quart of ketchup. Probably a little less. All right. So now, while that is cooking down, we are going to take and saute some shallots. The recipe, the original recipe called for onion, and in the past I've used garlic as well. It's a personal choice. It's just lately we seem to use a lot of shallots, so I'm going to use shallots. Okay. So basically, I want not a super fine, but a fairly fine dice on my shallots. I mean, like I said, we are going to puree it. shallots flavor-wise being somewhere between a garlic and an onion. I guess technically it's not, but I mean that's just the way I look at it. It's got a flavor profile that to me is a little above. Now as far as the sauteing goes, well, I wanted a quarter cup. I'm a little over that already. All right, well, we won't need this little piece. Okay. So, the sauteing process, it's a very personal thing. You'll read recipes all the time where it says saute it till it's translucent. Saute it al dente. Even saute it till it's a mush. All I'm trying to do is take a little of that powerful shallot oil flavor and mellow it a little bit. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't want my final product, I don't want my ketchup to taste like a mouthful of shallot or a mouthful of onion. You know, I want those flavors to merge. So I'm going to give the onion or the shallot a little assistance in getting to that point. All right. Show you a little trick. This is not mine. This is Jacques Pepin's thing. I don't know the science behind it, but I love it. The recipe calls for a tablespoon of olive oil to saute the shallot. What we're going to do, we're going to take a little olive oil. Yeah, close enough. Well, if there was a little hiccup in the filming, I had a battery die on me, but we're all caught up now. So I was saying Jacques Pepin would put olive oil and he would mix butter. So we have olive oil, we have a little bit of butter in there. I don't know the science behind it, but you won't burn the butter very easily, and it seems that the olive oil can take a little bit more heat. Okay, so we're going to move on and get our shallots sauteing. And while that's heating up, kind of lost my place. All right, we can start adding our ingredients. First of all, to this, I'm going to use I wanted to point out too, I don't know if you can see it, but I have these little ceramic tiles underneath my crock pot. This is a plastic table and this will protect it a little bit more. Okay, so to this, we'll start with a quarter teaspoon of salt. And you're going to hear me preach about this a lot. Salt and sugars are some of the most overdone things in America, especially in commercial kitchens. Salt is not a flavor or a flavorer. Salt is a flavor enhancer. Oh, spitting butter. I forgot to get my gloves back on. Oh, bad me. Dang. I must have got some of that milky butter. It's spitting all over the place. Hold on a second. Get these all coated and get the butter or the oil spread out and it won't spit quite as much. I'm making a mess all over the place. Remember, clean as you go, clean as you go, clean as you go. But in any case, salt is a flavor enhancer. Similar flavor enhancers, citrus juices in certain cases, cayenne pepper. And for all of these, cayenne pepper, salt, anything, if you can taste them in the dish, there's too much. So to enhance the flavors. Sort of like when you use alcohol in a sauce or a dish, if, like, for instance, if you're making the sauce and you're going to finish it with a wine, if you put in too much wine, it'll turn it bitter. All the alcohol is there is for, it evaporates at low temperatures, it evaporates very quickly, and it merges, it brings those flavors together. That's what it's all about. Okay, and you notice, you will notice when you do this, that very soon after you start to saute your onion, your garlic, your shallot, whatever you decide to use, the smell changes. Like when I came back from getting the new battery or from charging the battery in the recorder, You can tell I'm a cook and not a technician. The whole room smelled of fresh shallot because I'd been chopping them here. Well, now, in this short time of throwing them into the pan, that smell's gone, or it's changed. It's mellow. Now, what I don't want to do is store these or brown them too much. That's probably enough, because you'll end up with the same thing. These will end up taking your sauce and making your sauce taste firm. And I don't want that. I want everything to merge. I want everything to be mellow. I want everybody to be happy and play together nicely. Alright, that goes in the pot. I love my little toys. Okay, we got the salt, the tomatoes, the shallots. All right, into this, we're going to throw a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. And always, especially with apple cider vinegar, read the ingredients. You should read the ingredients on everything anyway. You should check your salt levels, blah, blah, blah. But I have sadly seen apple cider vinegar products that were white vinegar with apple flavoring added. The back of this container says apple cider diluted with water to 5% acidity. That's a good cooking acidity is 5%. Okay, so a 1/4 cup of this. I love that smell. And we want a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And same thing with brown sugar. I don't know if it says in the ingredients. Okay, this is what I would call an imitation brown sugar. This is sugar and molasses mixed together. Not bad. You still have that brown sugar flavor. But there is a process for making brown sugar other than just mixing sugar and molasses. To be quite honest, I'm not a great knowledge on that. It's just something that I'm aware of, and that's another reason I check ingredients. You know, this is sugar and molasses, whereas brown sugar, real brown sugar, would say brown sugar. All right. Don't ever tear your bags open. I don't care what it is. Bag of cheese, bag of brown sugar, it doesn't matter. I can't tell you how many countless times I've seen it in my life. Somebody take a 5-pound bag of shredded cheese, they only need like a couple cups, and they'll take it and they'll pull the bag like that, and that sucker rips right in half and just sprays cheese all over the kitchen or galley or wherever you are. And I goofed. You tell I ain't been filming in a while. Well, as I say down here in a minute. I should have done my brown sugar first before I got my measuring cup all wet. And typically with brown sugar, you want to pack it. Nothing major, just get her in there. Okay. So double checking, we have our aromas, our shallots, our brown sugar, our vinegar, our salt. And that's what all there is to it. Now we're going to cook it down, probably several hours. Not that long. Sometimes I have too many toys. All right. So our ketchup will sit here and it will cook and merge. Right now I have it on high. As soon as I know that it's working, I mean when you, see the tomatoes sweating. When the tomatoes are sweating really heavy, drop that heat down. Now, it might take all day. So what? Low and slow is always best. It's better than spending half the day trying to make a tomato-based sauce and having to throw it out because it ended up tasting burnt. Nobody wants that. All right, so we're going to let this puppy reduce, and I'll see you when it's ready to bring out the burst egg. All right, we're back. It's been about 3 hours. Try to get you a better view on this pot. See, it's just nice and lumpy, all broke down, separated water, tomato. Smells kind of yummy. Alright. What we're going to do now is puree. I have one of my favorite toys over here, my burr stick. We affectionately call this the Evil Evinrude. This is a product made by Kitchen Smith. And I looked it up recently, because this is very old. I looked it up recently and they still make it. And I have never, in all my decades as a professional cook, I have never had a burr stick that was as powerful and reliable as this one, Kitchen Smith. I ain't getting paid to say that, I just believe in it. I've even used the 5-foot ones in the restaurants. And hey, this is better than them. Alright, so we're going to take a minute to puree this thing. And be careful, it's hot and it's tomato, so it flies all over the place. See now is, first of all, there's a definite change in color. It gets lighter. It's kind of looks like tomato soup with milk in it or something like that. And it's not ketchup thick. You can see it's sort of got some little lumps, particulates, but it's getting there. Now we can go one of two ways at this point. First of all, it's basically done. Yeah, that's your ketchup. But it needs to reduce, it needs to get thicker. And I also like them when the consistency is a little bit more even. So, at this point, what I'll do is I'll let it sit here on low heat, and I'll stir it about every half hour or so, and I'll let it continue to reduce for most of the evening. And if at the end of the evening, if it isn't to a point that makes me happy, what I will do is put a slurry in. Now, as I said in the beginning, we had about 3 quarts of tomatoes, and right now, I'm looking at a little, right around 1.5 to 2 quarts of product in here right now. And as I said, I figured the end product would be closer to 1 quart. So it has a way to reduce. But before I'm done in the evening, what I'll probably do is add a slurry. If you're not familiar, a slurry is a type of thickening agent, sort of like a roux, but it's primarily used in, you'll see it in a lot of Asian Oriental style cooking. The advantages of it, this is a cornstarch water mix, and the advantages of that is it's got 75% more holding power than a roux does, a flour roux. And also, it will give your final product, your final sausage, it'll give it a sheen. Whereas like a flour roux will always turn the gravy kind of cloudy, which I mean, it's, for that gravy, that's fine. But the corn flour slurry will not change the color. It'll just give it a little bit of a shine. And it holds it together almost like gelatin. It's pretty tough stuff. So that's it. Right now, I'm going to let this go for the rest of the evening and reduce. And then I'll probably hit it with a slurry just because I kind of like that. And that's it. It'll be done. And then I'm going to use that in the next video and turn it into barbecue sauce. Now, one last note made me think of this. Brother Mike came through a while ago and he said, it smells good, but it don't smell like ketchup. A lot of your homemade products don't necessarily taste like the commercial variety. They're close, but they're different. I worked a sports bar once where my customers absolutely love ranch sauce, ranch dressing. And I love the customers. So I started to make homemade ranch dressing. And they hated it, couldn't stand it. And it took me forever to figure out why. The homemade one had all the fresh green herbs and spices, and it tasted fresh, which I personally liked. What they liked was that a commercial ranch dressing, you can taste all the dehydrated onions and the other herbs. That dehydrated flavor comes through. And that's what they were accustomed to, and that's what they like. So, be warned. Homemade tomato or homemade ketchup is pretty awesome, but it does taste a little different. If you want it to be closer to a traditional flavor, don't go with the shallots like I did. Go with an onion, whatever onion you prefer. And if it's still not traditional or commercial enough for your taste, then leave the onion out altogether. Okay? So that's it for now. And that's it. Y'all come on back when I make the barbecue sauce and you'll see what the finished ketchup looks like. Alright. For now, this is a Road Cook. And y'all have a lovely evening and be good to one another.